Welcome back, everybody. This time, we're going deep into a Victorian cold case.
Ooh.
And this one's a doozy.
I love a good Victorian cold case.
It's a kind of story that would shock even the most jaded true crime fan.
Oh, I bet.
So picture this. It's London in the 1870s.
Foggy.
Foggy, of course.
Yeah.
Cobblestones.
Gaslight.
Gaslight, yeah.
Jack the Ripper around every corner.
Well, maybe not Jack the Ripper, but definitely some shady characters lurking in the shadows.
For sure.
And beneath this, like, veneer of Victorian propriety,
Right.
there's this tale of, betrayal,
Of course.
brutality,
Silly.
and murder. Most foul.
Ooh, I love it already.
Yeah. And what makes it even more fascinating
Okay.
is that it was, like, cold for over a century, and then all of a sudden gets thrown back into the spotlight
What happened?
because they found the victim's skull
Oh, no.
in the garden of a beloved public figure.
No way.
I know, it's crazy, right?
That's insane. All right. Well, we'll get to that.
Okay, but first we have to go back to the beginning.
Right.
So our story starts with this woman named Julia Martha Thomas,
Okay.
and she was a twice-widowed former school teacher who apparently led a very unconventional life.
Oh, really? For a woman of that time.
Yeah, exactly.
I mean, Victorian England wasn't exactly known for encouraging women to break the mold.
Exactly, and that's what makes her so interesting.
Okay. I'm intrigued. Tell me more.
Well, Julia was known for being kind of eccentric.
Okay. How so?
She loved fine clothes and jewelry,
Right.
but she also had these really unpredictable travel habits.
Like what?
She would just, like, disappear for weeks on end.
Really?
Yeah, without telling anyone where she was going.
Wow. That's pretty wild for the 1800s.
Right. Imagine trying to get in touch with someone back then with no phones or internet.
I know, right? It's hard enough now.
So anyway, Julia lived in this seemingly quiet neighborhood in Richmond.
Okay.
And get this, her house was right next door to a pub called the Hole in the Wall.
Well, that's convenient.
I know, right?
Mm-hmm.
Talk about temptation.
And that's where she met Kate Webster.
Kate Webster, yes. She comes into the picture as Julia's domestic servant.
Okay, but I have a feeling there's more to her story.
Oh, absolutely. There's always more than meets the eye.
So what's the deal with Kate?
Well, Kate, her real name was Catherine Lawler.
Oh.
She had a pretty troubled past,
What do you mean?
like petty theft,
Okay.
And she was really good at using aliases to avoid getting caught.
So a bit of a con artist?
Yeah, you could say that.
That's interesting. So she had this knack for deception even from a young age.
Yeah. And it's a recurring theme in this whole case.
I bet we'll see that play out.
Oh, definitely.
So tell me more about her past. What kind of things did she get up to?
Well, there were records of her robbing lodging houses.
Oh, wow. How did she pull that off?
She would pretend to be interested in renting a room.
Okay.
Like she's a potential tenant.
Right.
And then while the landlord was distracted showing her around,
Yeah.
she'd grab whatever she could and make a run for it.
So sneaky.
I know, right? And it seems like as time went on, her crimes got more and more daring.
That's a classic pattern. You see it all the time, almost like they get bolder with each success, or maybe they just get more desperate. Who knows?
Yeah, it really makes you wonder what could have pushed her to that point.
Absolutely. It's a question that often comes up when we delve into these historical cases, trying to understand the underlying factors that might have shaped someone's path.
For sure. So Kate ends up working for Julia,
Right.
and things go sour pretty quickly.
Oh, really? What happened?
Well, Julia ends up firing her after only a month.
Wow, that's harsh.
Yeah, but she did let Kate stay on for a few more days.
Really? Why would she do that?
Maybe she felt bad for her.
Maybe.
Or maybe she was just naive.
Yeah, that's possible too.
Who knows? But it turned out to be a fatal mistake.
Oh, this doesn't sound good.
It wasn't because it set the stage for this confrontation that ended in violence,
Oh, no.
and both of their lives were changed forever.
So what happened? Tell me about the confrontation.
Well, it was a Sunday in February 1879.
Okay.
Julie and Kate got into an argument.
About what?
We don't know the specifics,
Hmm.
but according to Kate's confession later on,
Okay.
she claimed that it was a crime of passion.
A crime of passion.
Yeah, like a fit of rage that led her to push Julia down the stairs.
Oh, wow.
But was it really just an impulsive act?
That's the question, isn't it?
Exactly, because what she did next really makes you wonder.
I'm on the edge of my seat here. What did she do?
Well, to stop Julia from screaming,
Oh, my gosh.
she strangled her.
That's awful.
And then to try and hide what she had done,
yeah.
she did something truly horrific.
What was that?
She decided to dismember Julia's body.
No way, right there in the house.
Yeah, right there in the kitchen.
I can't even imagine the horror of that scene.
It's just gruesome, and the smell.
Oh, yeah. The smell must have been overwhelming.
I read the coroner's report.
I
It was tough,
bet.
like really hard to stomach.
I can only imagine.
It's just, you can tell how desperate she must have been.
Yeah, and the lengths she was willing to go to just to get away with it.
Right, and it gets even more disturbing.
Oh, no, what now?
Well, there were claims that she actually fed some of the rendered fat,
Render fat? What do you mean?
like from the body,
Oh my gosh.
to local children.
She didn't.
Yeah, she passed it off as pig lard.
That's just
I know, it's just awful.
beyond disturbing.
But it does make you think about the times back then.
Yeah.
Food was scarce,
Right.
People were desperate.
It's a different world.
And it also shows just how little regard she had for human life.
Yeah, it paints a pretty dark picture of her character.
It really does. So anyway,
Yeah,
Kate's got rid of the body.
in her own twisted way.
Exactly. And then what does she do? She starts living Julia's life.
What?
She starts wearing her clothes, using her things.
Wow.
She even sold some of her furniture.
So she was really committed to this charade.
Oh, yeah. She was good at it, too.
I mean, she knew Giulio disappear for weeks at a time.
Right.
So no one would really question it at first.
Exactly. It was actually pretty clever.
In a creepy kind of way.
Yeah, definitely. But you know what they say?
What's that?
The truth always comes out.
Who?
I wonder how. Well, a few days later,
Uh-huh.
a coal porter spotted a box.
Box.
Yeah, floating in the Thames.
Okay.
It was about 5 miles downstream from where Kate had dumped it.
So what was in the box?
Oh, when they opened it up,
Yeah.
it was the remains of Julia Martha Thomas,
Oh my gosh.
wrapped in brown paper.
That's awful.
And then a little while later, they found a severed foot
Where?
in a dung heap.
Oh, gross.
And that confirmed it,
That Julie had been murdered.
Exactly. They weren't dealing with just a missing person anymore.
This was serious.
Oh, yeah. And now Scotland Yard was on the case.
Okay, here we go.
The investigation was officially underway.
So they find the remains, and that's when things really ramp up.
Oh, yeah. Now it's a murder investigation.
Right, and all eyes are on Kate.
Exactly. Scotland Yard starts putting the pieces together.
The timeline.
Yeah, her movements, and right away.
Her story starts to fall apart.
Exactly.
Yeah.
There were just too many red flags.
And this is the 1870s, right?
Mm.
So no fancy DNA testing or anything like that.
Nope. They had to rely on good old-fashioned detective work.
Shoe leather and witness statements.
Exactly. But it's amazing how, even back then,
Yeah.
they used a lot of the same techniques that we see in modern investigations.
Oh, absolutely. They were meticulous.
Gathering evidence, talking to people.
Analyzing every little detail.
And you know what?
What?
Kate actually made a pretty big mistake.
Oh, really? What did she do?
Well, remember how she was pretending to be Julia?
Yeah, selling off her stuff.
Right. Well, she sold some of the furniture
Okay.
to this guy named John Church.
John Church.
And she even had the nerve
What?
to introduce herself as Julia.
No way.
Yeah, saying she was moving and needed to get rid of everything.
So she was really doubling down on the deception.
Oh, yeah. She was bold.
So dumb.
Well, yeah, it came back to bite her because John Church, he later described the woman who sold him the furniture.
To the police.
Right. And it didn't match Julie at all.
Oh,
It matched Kate perfectly.
busted.
Yep. And on top of that, the neighbors were getting suspicious too.
Oh, really?
Well, they knew Julia
Right.
and her habit of just taking off.
Yeah.
But something about Kate's behavior just seemed off.
Like she was trying too hard.
Exactly. And Julia's landlady, Mrs. Ives,
Okay.
she saw a stranger taking away Julia's furniture.
Oh, no.
Yeah, and she was like, wait a minute.
Something's not right.
Exactly. And so,
Mrs. Ives, she sounds like a smart lady.
oh yeah, she was definitely paying attention.
Good for her.
So between her observations and John Church's description
The police had a pretty good idea.
of who they were looking for.
Yeah, they were closing in on Kate.
Right. And Kate,
Yeah.
she must have felt the pressure.
So what did she do?
She did what any cornered criminal would do.
What's that?
She ran.
She ran away.
Yep. She took off to Liverpool.
To try and disappear.
Exactly. She thought she could blend in,
In the big city.
Right. But she made another mistake.
What was that?
She went to her family for help.
Oh, no. That's never a good idea.
It's like they always say,
Ooh.
criminals are creatures of habit.
It's true. They always fall back on what they know.
And because of that,
They get caught.
exactly. It's like they can't help themselves.
So they found her at a relative's house.
Yep. And get this, the constable in Ireland.
Okay.
He recognized her from a previous arrest.
No way.
Yeah. And he contacted Scotland Yard.
And they swooped in.
Exactly. They brought her back to London to face trial.
At the Old Bailey.
The Old Bailey's, the most famous courthouse in England.
Talk about a high-profile case.
Oh, yeah. This was huge. The papers were eating it up.
Of course, murder, betrayal.
Dismemberment.
He had everything.
And the trial itself
Yeah.
was like something in a Victorian thriller.
Oh, I bet.
So Kate, she stuck to her story.
That she was innocent.
Yeah, but she kept changing her story. Well, first she tried to blame John Church.
The furniture guy.
Yeah, she said that he had proposed
Proposed what?
that they kill Julia together.
What?
Yeah, and then they would run off to America.
She's making this up.
Oh, yeah, completely making it up, but
It's pretty desperate.
it was. And when that didn't work,
What did she do?
she tried to blame Henry Porter.
Who's Henry Porter?
He's the one who introduced her to John Church.
Okay.
And she even claimed that his young son was involved.
Oh, come on.
You're right. She said that they all helped her get rid of the body.
That's ridiculous.
It was ridiculous.
Yeah.
But, she was grasping at straws.
Just trying to create chaos.
Yeah, and hoping that the jury would believe her.
But they didn't buy it.
No, luckily, both John Church and Henry Porter,
Yeah.
they had solid alibis.
Thank goodness.
I know, right? They were eventually cleared of any involvement.
So it was back to Kate.
Back to Kate and all her lies.
And those lies, they just kept piling up.
Exactly, and that's what really sealed her fate.
The prosecution did a good job.
Oh, yeah. They presented a very strong case.
Laying out all the evidence.
All the inconsistencies in her stories.
And then they had this one piece of evidence
What was that?
that really nailed it.
Oh, yeah.
There was this 13-year-old neighbor girl,
Okay.
and she testified that she had seen that box.
The one in the Thames.
Yeah, in Julia's house.
Wow.
That connected Kate directly to the botter.
No, getting around that.
And then on top of that, you have her running away.
Right? Having Julia's stuff.
Impersonating
It
her.
was all adding up.
Not looking good for Kate.
Not at all. So after a 7-day trial,
The jury reached a verdict.
guilty of willful murder,
And the sentence.
death by hanging.
Wow.
Yeah. And,
What?
this was Victorian England.
Right.
Murder was a capital offense.
So it wasn't unexpected?
No,
Yeah.
not at all, especially given the brutality of the crime.
The dismemberment, the cover-up?
It was all very shocking.
And they weren't messing around.
Nope.
Yeah.
But even facing execution, Kate didn't stop.
Didn't stop. Why?
She tried one last trick.
To save herself.
Yeah, she claims she was pregnant
Pregnant.
and that the father
Yeah.
was the real killer.
Oh my God.
I know, right? Talk about desperate.
But did anyone believe her?
Nope. The magistrate had seen enough.
He knew she was lying.
Exactly. And so the execution date was set. So there she is, on death row.
About to face the ultimate punishment.
And then she finally
It
confesses.
was a murder.
Yeah.
Wow, after all that lying and scheming.
Right. But she still claims
What she said?
there was a crime of passion.
Oh, so she's still trying to downplay it.
Yeah, she says she was in a fit of rage.
Yeah.
And that she doesn't even really remember doing it.
Convenient.
Right, like she blocked it out or something.
But why confess at all, at that point?
It's a good question.
I mean, was it just a guilty conscience? Or was she still trying to manipulate things?
to make people feel sorry for her.
Yeah, or maybe she wanted to control the narrative, even in death.
Like have the last word.
Exactly. It's hard to say for sure.
Yeah. But one thing's for certain.
What's that?
Kate Webster was a master manipulator
She was a liar, a thief.
and ultimately a killer.
So with her confession, the case is closed.
Well, sort of.
What do you mean?
There was still one loose end.
Okay.
They never found Julia's head.
Oh, wow. Really?
Yeah. Kate said she buried it in a vacant lot,
Uh-huh.
but they searched and searched.
And nothing.
Nothing.
So that part of the story remained a mystery.
For over 100 years.
Wow. Talk about a haunting reminder.
I know, right? It just adds to the creepiness of the whole thing.
So what happened? Did they ever find it?
You are not going to believe this.
Try me.
Okay, so fast forward to 2010.
Okay. Over 100 years later?
Yeah, and some workers are digging in a garden.
Whose garden?
Sir David Attenborough's garden.
Wait, you mean like the famous naturalist?
The one and only.
You're kidding me?
Nope, and guess what they found?
No way they found Julia's skull.
They found the skull.
That is insane.
And I know, it's like something out of a movie.
So they finally got closure after all those years.
Yeah, it was pretty incredible. DNA testing, I assume? Oh, yeah. They were able to confirm it was Julia's skull.
Wow. What are the chances?
It's just wild, isn't it?
It really makes you think you know about all the secrets that are still out there buried in the past, just waiting to be discovered.
Exactly. It's like this case was just waiting for the right moment to resurface.
And what a way to resurface in the garden of Sir David Attenborough.
I know, right? It's a story that just keeps on giving.
So what have we learned today?
Well, I think we've learned that Kate Webster was a very, very troubled woman.
Capable of great deception,
And violence.
and that even in the Victorian era,
Justice could prevail.
eventually.
Eventually.
And it also makes you think about the victims in these cases.
Late Julia.
Right, she was just trying to live her life.
And she crossed paths with the wrong person.
It's a reminder that these stories aren't just, sensational headlines
They're about real people
with real lives.
and real consequences.
Well said. And on that note, I think we've done enough digging for today.
Yeah, we've unearthed quite a bit.
More than we bargained for, perhaps.
But that's what makes these deep dives so fascinating.
It's the thrill of the unknown, the chance to uncover something new.
Exactly. And who knows what other secrets are out there just waiting to be found.
That's for us to find out.
That's right. So, until next time.
Happy digging, everyone.